Bhlm_07_. I looked through my closet before deciding on what to wear. I wanted to make a good impression, so I had to make sure that I dressed appropriately. I settled for a black chino jeans and white sleeveless top. I covered my kinky hair in a head wrap and finished off with silver slippers. Anyone that didn't know any better would think that I was a decent person when in fact I was the kind of lady that would bring a peaceful home to ashes. I thought of the mission ahead and smiled a little. Honestly, I didn't want to do this anymore. The fun in it was no more, but I had a score to settle. No one did me wrong and walked away scot-free. I grabbed my phone and searched through Ray's number. I was about to call him when I remembered the conversation we had had in the morning. How was I ever going to live with myself knowing that the one person that knew so much about me was tying his life to a woman I was totally jealous of? I pushed back the tears that were threatening to fall and grabbed my purse. Ruth and Dad were still out and only the house helps were in. I was not even friendly with any of them. I knew in the depth of my heart that they hated me, but I cared less because I knew the person that put food in my belly. I walked out of the house and decided I would leave my car behind. I hated public transport, but because I didn't want to create the wrong impression, I got on a cab. The drive from home in Meanwood to East Park Mall took us about an hour. There was mad congestion and the driver was following all the traffic rules. I was not in a hurry, so I didn't pay attention to him. After the long drive, we finally got there and I went straight to Keg where I got myself a shot of tequila. I needed to be in the mood of doing what I had planned and I couldn't allow the emotions I was feeling to come in the way. "I am in the parking lot," Mr. Mutail said when I picked up his phone call. I got the gums I had in my clutch and quickly chewed the juice out of them so that I could have a mint taste in my mouth. I walked to the car park where I found him parked. His hazards were on. "Comfortable ride," I said, settling into his Jeep Patriot X. He sure was doing fine for himself. "Thank you, my darling, and remember there is more where this is coming from," he responded with a naughty look. I didn't know whether to be flattered or offended, but I chose to play it cool. "So where do you want to go?" he asked, touching my thigh. I looked at where his hand was, totally feeling nothing. "I don't know a lot of places, sir. Anywhere is okay with me," I said shyly. "I can see we won't get past the term, sir. How about we drive to Chilenga? I know a beautiful place there," he said. "Okay," I responded. We drove towards town so that we could connect to Kafui Road. He kept asking little questions about my background and I told him about how I was abandoned by my mother at birth at an orphanage, but leaving out the part where I had been adopted. When I was done, I had tears running down my face. It was all part of the plan. "I am sorry to hear that, baby girl, but I am here now," he said, brushing the back of my hand. I smiled at him mischievously. We got to Chilenga an hour later and I must confess I needed a strong beer. The heat wasn't at all friendly with my skin. "Looks like there is a braai here," I heard myself saying when I unstrapped my seat belt. "I didn't want to tell you lest you would have bailed out on me," he said. I looked at him, waiting to hear the rest. "So myself and the boys organized a little come-together with our girls," he said. I looked out the window trying to see who the boys were. All I could see were old bald men with pot bellies big enough to carry a child. How did I get here? I asked myself in my head. I was messed up, yes, and had done so much, but I knew deep down that I was better than this. How could I have subjected myself to such a life? "We need to go," he said, getting out of the car, exposing his behind that wasn't fully in his pants. "Sure," I smiled weakly. We walked to where everyone was hand in hand. It's like he was trying so hard to show me off. "Hey," he greeted his friends who were with girls in heavy makeup and skimpy clothes. I actually looked like I was the only decent person in the group. "Hey," one of them greeted, puffing out some smoke out of the nostrils. "Hi," I responded coldly. "I am Jessie. He used to date my friend before she started demanding to be made madam," she said, pointing at Mr. Mutail, causing everyone to laugh except myself. I didn't find it funny. I was trying so hard to play cool, but I honestly couldn't keep up the act. We walked to a secluded area where we sat opposite each other. "This place was a bad idea, right?" he asked, sipping on some brandy. "No, I am just finding it hard to adjust to all this," I said, pointing at his friends. "You must think lowly of me," he said, holding his cup tightly. "Oh Lord, not the self-pity game," I thought to myself. Honestly, I used to be happy. My marriage was perfect, not until I discovered the child I have known for 25 years is not actually my daughter," he said. I smiled mischievously. Exactly what I needed to destroy the girl that insulted me, I thought to myself. "And does she know, your daughter?" I asked, trying to act concerned. "No, she doesn't. I still love her. She is innocent. A product of her mother's infidelity," he said. I looked at him and rolled my eyes. He must think I was sorry for him, not knowing I was rejoicing inside. The news gave me this naughty feeling. I got up and sat on his laps. He was taken aback. I was almost kissing him when I felt hands grab me by the waist. Before I could even react, my legs were swinging in the air and I was being carried towards the vehicle. Everyone was watching what was happening. I could see it because my face was facing them. "Let me go," I screamed, trying to hit him. Like I wasn't talking to him, he kept walking till we got to his car. He opened the passenger seat and put me on the chair, strapped me into the seat belt and locked the car before going back. I watched from the window as he hit Mr. Mutail on the face. "Stay away from my girl," he screamed. He went to his car and broke the window with his fist. He grabbed my clutch and came back to the car. His hand was bleeding, but the fear I was feeling was even worse. He started the car and drove us out of the venue. "Your hand is. Don't you dare." He glared at me before I could even finish my sentence. But instead I got a tissue from my clutch and placed it where it was bleeding. He looked at me with evil eyes. Instead I gave him a puppy face, making my emotions so vulnerable. "Why do you have to do this?" he asked, hitting on the steering wheel. "Your friend and author Winnie." "Hi,